Opened the East Stand when it was built at about 2 weeks' notice because they'd been let down. I can't remember who by. And as it happened, the horse was lame, so I wasn't competing at the weekend.
Wow.
So I went.
Sliding
and about
doors.
a month later, they wrote and asked me if I'd like to become patron.
Absolute chaos has erupted within the historic walls of Balmoral Castle. Prince William struggles to fight back tears while Princess Anne reads out King Charles's stunning final wish, a decree that changes everything. Tense whispers are echoing through the palace corridors about William taking the throne early and Catherine's future role. Will Queen Camilla accept this sudden loss of power, and can William honour his father's dying wish while protecting his own plans for the monarchy? Stay tuned as we reveal the stunning announcement from Princess Anne that left the prince fighting back tears. This was the king's final wish. On that heavy, warm summer afternoon, tension hung thick over Balmoral Castle. This majestic Scottish estate, famous for its massive stone walls and remote privacy, had served as the ultimate private sanctuary for generations of royals. But today it became the dramatic backdrop for a shocking revelation that would shake the entire monarchy. One after another, sleek black cars crawled up the winding driveway. Inside, anxious staff members peeked through the heavy windows, whispering about what was happening. An emergency summit of this scale was incredibly rare. Even the usually radiant Princess Catherine looked deeply solemn and tense as she stepped out of her vehicle into the cool air. She held the secret that was about to change the royal family forever. Inside, the royals gathered around a massive polished oak table. Portraits of legendary kings and queens stared down from the walls, their painted eyes frozen in time. A heavy silence filled the room as everyone took their seats, waiting in suspense. Nobody had any idea what was coming. When Princess Catherine stood up, her hands were visibly trembling. She had guarded this explosive secret for months, waiting for the perfect moment. Now, with every single eye locked onto her, she finally spoke. She delivered the shocking truth about Queen Elizabeth II's final wish, a secret the late monarch only shared with her inner circle before her passing. It was absolutely stunning. The late Queen wanted Catherine to rule as Queen in her own right, not merely as the spouse of King William, but as the actual reigning monarch. Stunned whispers immediately filled the room. This was absolutely not the future that anyone had envisioned. For hundreds of years, the British crown always passed from a king to his son, or, in rare circumstances, to a daughter when no male heir existed. They were determined that Kate would marry into the royal family feeling completely comfortable and supported. And William certainly was not going to take any unnecessary chances. He absolutely adores the Middletons. Historically, any woman marrying into the family became a queen consort standing beside the king without holding any real ruling power of her own. Queen Elizabeth's final wish threatened to tear up that playbook. King Charles III, already dealing with severe health issues, sat frozen. His mother's decree challenged the very foundation of his reign. The future he had meticulously planned was suddenly thrown into complete chaos. Pale and shaken, he struggled to process this blow to the monarchy. Beside him, Queen Camilla sat perfectly still. She had spent decades fighting to win over a sceptical public, desperately trying to escape the shadow of the past. Finally, she had secured her crown as queen consort. Yet this shocking revelation proved that even Queen Elizabeth never viewed Camilla's elevated position as a permanent arrangement. It was merely a temporary stepping stone before the crown went to Catherine. The younger royals traded nervous glances while Prince William turned to his wife, his face totally unreadable. Had she known this whole time? Meanwhile, Princess Anne, ever the pragmatist, immediately began calculating the massive legal and constitutional fallout. Prince Edward and Sophie whispered, trying to figure out what this huge change would mean. Just outside the closed doors, palace staff could hear heated arguments rising and falling in waves. The intense debate went on for hours. Some backed the plan, pointing to Catherine's massive popularity, while others fought back, arguing that such a radical shift could completely destabilise the monarchy. When evening came, the family emerged with exhausted, stony faces. Absolutely nothing was settled. The revelation had triggered deep family feuds and deep-seated fractures that might never fully heal. Over the following days, highly confidential calls quietly buzzed between the royal households. High-priced lawyers and top constitutional experts met behind closed doors, while the palace press team frantically drafted statements for every worst-case scenario. But nothing was released. The late Queen's final wish remained a closely guarded, dangerous secret. The shockwaves extended far beyond Camilla and Catherine. Over in California, Prince Harry and Meghan watched closely, wondering how this dramatic change might impact their own children's succession rights. Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie began questioning what this meant for their future duties. Even younger royals like Lady Louise Windsor and James, who usually avoid the harsh media spotlight, found themselves caught in this vortex of uncertainty. Meanwhile, in London, life seemed completely normal. Tourists strolled past Buckingham Palace, taking photos and waving at passing black cars, totally unaware of the historic storm raging just behind those high walls. The royal family was locked in a quiet crisis that could alter its destiny forever. Back at Balmoral, one absolute truth was clear to everyone: the British monarchy would never be the same again. The late Queen Elizabeth's final wish had unleashed a chain reaction nobody saw coming. The family now stood at a dangerous crossroads, torn between duty and survival. The ultimate threat to the crown did not come from the outside world, but from the deep, bitter rivalries quietly tearing the family apart from within. But while the family battles this internal civil war, a much darker cloud hangs over them. Will King Charles live long enough to see this plan unfold? Time is rapidly running out. Golden morning sunlight poured through the tall windows of Clarence House as a weary King Charles sat at his desk, sorting through urgent government papers. His fingers shook slightly as he reached to grab his pen, a subtle, heartbreaking sign of the silent war raging inside his body. At 76 years old, the monarch faced a deadly enemy that no amount of royal power could ever conquer: cancer. The devastating diagnosis came in February 2024, delivered by physicians with deeply solemn faces. Initially, the palace kept the medical details strictly private, simply announcing that the king had cancer and would start treatments immediately. While the official public messages sounded hopeful behind closed doors, the situation looked far worse. On a Thursday morning in April, the king knew something was terribly wrong. His cancer treatments began triggering side effects that worried his medical team. Suddenly, royal plans changed in an instant. Urgent phone calls flew between panicked palace staff as the king was rushed to the London clinic, the exclusive private hospital where the rich and powerful usually receive their care. Out on the streets of London, life went on as normal. Tourists snapped pictures outside Buckingham Palace, and office workers hurried off to meetings. Almost nobody knew that, inside a nearby hospital room, specialists were working to help the king through difficult treatment complications. Charles returned to Clarence House that evening to have dinner with Queen Camilla, as if nothing was wrong, but by the next morning everything had changed. His planned trip to Birmingham was suddenly cancelled. The palace carefully released a brief statement mentioning doctors' advice regarding the unexpected side effects. Just enough information to share the news without actually revealing too much. Since his diagnosis, the king's daily routine has shifted completely. We have just received breaking news from Buckingham Palace, officially announcing that the monarch has been diagnosed with cancer. Before his cancer battle, he worked tirelessly from dawn until late at night, reading state papers, meeting charities, and attending public events. Now those red boxes holding official documents arrived far less often. His daily schedule, once packed with royal duties, now showed long, empty blocks. Palace staff noticed other changes too. The king, once bursting with energy and eager to discuss projects, now chose his tasks very carefully. He focused strictly on what mattered most, carefully saving his limited strength. The grand halls of the castle, once filled with his brisk steps and intense discussions about environmental issues, now felt strangely quiet and empty. In the royal family, personal health struggles are rarely shared. Queen Elizabeth II never spoke about her own medical issues. Even during her final months, when mobility became difficult, the official palace statements remained remarkably brief and optimistic. King Charles decided to choose a different path. Instead of keeping his illness hidden, he shared his cancer diagnosis, though he never revealed the specific type. His doctors believed this honesty would encourage other people to seek help, and it definitely did. Thousands of ordinary people checked their symptoms or booked screenings immediately after hearing the news. Despite his serious health struggles, Charles kept up with essential royal duties. He stood proudly at Easter services, smiling at the crowds, though his face looked noticeably thinner. He visited a specialised cancer treatment centre, with Queen Camilla meeting brave patients who were fighting the same battle. At the army barracks in Hampshire, he spoke directly with active soldiers, making light-hearted jokes about finally being let out of his cage, showing everyone that his sense of humour remained intact during hard times. His medical treatments continued throughout the spring and summer. Some days were much easier than others, and palace staff learned to read the signs. If he chose a particular tie or requested specific meals, the staff knew he was feeling much stronger that day. But if important meetings were suddenly rescheduled, or the royal doctor showed up unexpectedly, they understood the king desperately needed rest. The king's serious illness brought immense stress to a royal family already facing massive challenges. Prince William took on extra responsibilities while worrying deeply about his father. Princess Anne attended events in his place, ensuring that important royal duties continued. Even Prince Harry, despite all their past public tensions, stayed in close touch to check on his father's health. Time moved steadily forward, and King Charles III remained on the throne. But behind palace doors and grand royal estates across Britain, quiet preparations had already begun for whatever the future might bring. As King Charles continues battling these serious health challenges, all eyes have turned directly to Prince William. How is he preparing for a royal future that seems to be coming much faster than anyone expected? Consider the weight of the crown. Being a future monarch is not just about holding power or enjoying royal privileges. It comes with massive non-stop responsibilities that never fade. Prince William, who is next in line to inherit the throne, understands this better than anyone. As his father, King Charles, focuses entirely on his health, William's role within the royal family is growing significantly stronger. Tasks that once seemed far in the future are now part of his daily routine, and he is stepping up to handle them. William's entire life has been a quiet preparation for this heavy moment. Unlike previous royal heirs who followed incredibly strict routines, his upbringing has been a careful blend of tradition and real-world experience. He attended Eton College and later studied at St Andrews University, where he received a very comprehensive and strong education. He also served bravely as a search and rescue pilot in the Royal Air Force, a demanding role that gave him a real chance to make a difference in people's lives. Through it all, William worked tirelessly to build a life that was not just focused on royal duties, but also on being present for his young family. These unique experiences have truly shaped him into the capable leader he is today, a man who deeply understands the weight of royal responsibility, but still values living a balanced, normal life. As the future British monarch, he has learned to handle the intense pressures of royal life while staying firmly connected to the world outside. The pressure weighing on William has only grown. With his father focusing heavily on his health, he has taken on more responsibilities than ever before. These days he is front and centre at massive state events, huddling in private with government officials, while tackling critical royal duties. His leadership in the Duchy of Cornwall, the massive estate bankrolling most royal activities, has become far more than a mere honorary title. He is calling the actual shots now, directly shaping the Crown's bank accounts and its reputation. This high-stakes pivot arrives right as the royal family faces massive internal shake-ups. Let's face it, the public does not view them the same way anymore, particularly Gen Z and millennials, who openly question their relevance. William finds himself trapped between age-old traditions and a demanding modern world that craves transparency and authentic connection. Instead of backing down, he has leaned into the challenge, focusing on mental health, the climate crisis, and homelessness. With these modern campaigns, he is actively redefining what a future British king represents, all while William shoulders a crushing, endless amount of public pressure. Every single move he makes is put under a microscope, with people instantly ready to judge praise or tear him down. That bitter, ongoing feud with Prince Harry continues to dominate front pages, with endless media gossip keeping everyone guessing about their current status. Behind closed palace doors, he must juggle his mounting royal duties with the complex task of keeping the family united. When cameras turn off, he takes his job as a loving husband and father just as seriously. Unlike previous royal heirs who coldly put crown before family, he actively carves out precious time for Catherine and their 3 young kids. Juggling demanding state affairs with normal family life is a massive headache, and as public expectations skyrocket, so do the hurdles. His modern strategy shows how the firm is shifting. He is steering the monarchy toward a leadership style that feels personal and connected to everyday people. Deep inside the palace top, advisors and royal officials are fully aware of how critical a smooth transition of power really is. The British monarchy has survived for centuries through meticulous planning and a knack for adaptation. William's royal training has ramped up heavily lately, prepping him to take the reins at a moment's notice. He has been continuously briefed on classified state matters, complex foreign policy and sensitive military operations, making sure he is completely ready when his time arrives. Even under this crushing mountain of pressure, William stays remarkably cool, calm and focused. He knows exactly what the world expects, fully grasping the heavy weight he will eventually inherit. The very future of the monarchy depends on his ability to lead them with bold confidence, sound judgment, and the crucial flexibility to pivot with the times. Onlookers worldwide are watching closely, fully aware they are witnessing a major turning point in modern history. As William shoulders more duties, an entirely different royal crisis is emerging. How will Queen Camilla's role shift as things grow unstable? Suddenly, her entire royal future is being called into question. For decades, Queen Camilla fought hard to rewrite her public narrative. She stepped into the royal spotlight with a deeply complicated past, but slowly earned the public's acceptance. Step by step, she transformed into an indispensable presence right by King Charles's side. Armed with his unwavering support, she embraced her title of Queen Consort, standing firmly by his side as one of his most trusted, intimate advisors. But recently, explosive new details have cast a dark shadow over her future. A shocking revelation about the late Queen Elizabeth's final wishes has shattered the stability Camilla worked decades to build. The late monarch had publicly given her blessing for Prince Charles's wife Camilla to eventually be called Queen Consort. But new leaks reveal that the late Queen secretly hoped Catherine, the Princess of Wales, would eventually step into a much more dominant leadership role. This bombshell has sparked serious questions about Camilla's true standing within the royal hierarchy. Even though she officially holds the prestigious title of Queen, her position today looks far less secure than it ever did before. The British monarchy thrives on age-old tradition, and Queen Elizabeth was masterfully instrumental in designing its future. She had explicitly decreed that Camilla should merely be styled as Queen Consort, a title recognising her role as Charles's companion, but one that gave her absolutely no real ruling power. However, these latest insider revelations suggest that Queen Elizabeth might have harboured a completely different master plan for the future. A future where Catherine would eventually step into the spotlight as a queen with genuine authority rather than just playing a supporting consort role. This unexpected development has reportedly sparked fierce behind-the-scenes tension between Camilla and Catherine, plunging the royal family into an incredibly awkward situation. As your proud president, it is an absolute pleasure to welcome every single one of you to Buckingham Palace today. Camilla had worked tirelessly for decades to distance herself from those turbulent early years when she was branded a highly controversial figure. Decades ago, her affair and subsequent relationship with Charles ignited massive tabloid scandals, and the British public was incredibly slow to accept her. Over the years, however, she successfully rehabilitated her public image through extensive charity work and unwavering devotion to the king, eventually earning her spot as a trusted royal and Charles's absolute closest confidant. But now, with a looming possibility of Catherine taking on a far more powerful role in the future, Camilla's hard-won position suddenly looks incredibly shaky right as the royal family enters a turbulent era of transition. Ever since he ascended the throne, King Charles has prioritised stability above all else, with Camilla serving as his absolute anchor in that massive effort. She is widely regarded as the one who keeps the king grounded quietly, providing him with both emotional comfort and invaluable strategic advice. While her constant presence at massive royal events made her power seem secure, these latest revelations threaten to shatter that fragile peace, especially as unpredictable public opinion continues to shape the future. While Camilla has slowly won people over, Kate Middleton remains the absolute most beloved royal figure since Queen Elizabeth passed. She has built a rock-solid reputation, effortlessly blending royal tradition with modern vibes. Behind closed doors, palace insiders are whispering, and if Kate is truly being groomed for a major leadership role, it will completely shatter the current balance of power inside the British monarchy. How ordinary people react to these drastic changes will definitely impact crucial decisions made behind closed doors. Beyond the messy family drama, this tense situation exposes a much larger crisis for the Windsors. The crown completely relies on undisputed succession and the absolute trust of the public. Any real confusion about roles within the royal family can trigger major instability, especially during these times of massive change. Planting green hedges and trees to capture carbon shows just how much their focus has shifted. As King Charles navigates his historic reign, he must somehow manage these bitter family feuds, while keeping the Windsors completely united in the public eye. Queen Camilla's future now hangs in the balance. If Charles stubbornly stands by her side as queen, she may hold on to her title without facing any major backlash. But if the public demands Catherine take on a more prominent role, Camilla might quickly find herself sidelined. With Camilla's future hanging by a thread, the palace faces a critical decision. What massive choices will shape the crown's next move and define the monarchy's ultimate survival? The British monarchy is currently navigating one of its darkest eras in modern history. With King Charles battling serious cancer and endless family feuds, the future of the crown feels incredibly fragile. While the line of succession is secure, the actual path forward remains highly complicated. The critical decisions made today will shape the future of the House of Windsor. Prince William is next in line, followed by his 3 children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. The crown's survival relies heavily on a seamless transition of power, but the ground is shifting beneath their feet. If King Charles's health continues to fail, Prince William must step up much sooner than anyone anticipated. Social media is constantly flooded with wild rumours and toxic conspiracy theories, so we must tread very carefully with what we believe. Meanwhile, there's a massive buzz around Kate Middleton, potentially stepping up as a ruling queen, shattering centuries of strict royal tradition inside the palace walls. King Charles relies heavily on a tight-knit circle of trusted advisors to navigate his current crisis. At the absolute centre of this loyal inner circle stands Sir Clive Alderton. Serving as the King's principal private secretary, Sir Clive holds immense power in steering major decisions and keeping the crown aligned with its ultimate, long-term goals. He is absolutely vital in managing the royal family's fragile public image. With the very future of the monarchy at stake, his guidance is more critical than ever. Meanwhile, Prince William and Kate Middleton have been quietly updating how they handle their official royal duties. Though they respect time-honoured traditions, they actively champion modern issues like climate change, social justice, and mental health awareness. Even their style of communication has completely shifted. Instead of highlighting the dazzling glamour of traditional royal life, they strive to appear down to earth and deeply involved, desperately trying to keep the monarchy modern. Meanwhile, they face another massive hurdle, the unending toxic feud with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The deep divide between the two brothers remains completely unresolved, and their vastly different lifestyles keep feeding the global media circus. While William and Catherine keep their heads down and focus on work, the emotional distance from Harry only deepens. How they handle this bitter standoff will largely define the monarchy's survival, especially when it comes to proving to the public that the family can still stand united. King Charles has also chosen a completely unprecedented path regarding his personal health struggles. Traditionally, ruling monarchs kept their illnesses strictly confidential, but Charles broke protocol by sharing details of his ongoing cancer treatment. This historic shift suggests the modern royal family is trying to be far more transparent. How the public responds to this openness will dictate how they handle future royal medical crises. We see this play out as they focus on planting new trees and hedges. This ecological push is vital. At 76 years old, Charles faces the monumental task of keeping the crown stable while preparing the next generation to take over. His historic reign comes at a critical moment when the royals must perfectly balance ancient duty with modern public expectations. Many believe the monarchy must modernise to stay relevant, while traditionalists fear too much change will destroy its ancient foundations. The critical choices they make today will ripple through the monarchy for generations. The royal family must also carefully reconsider its changing role within the global Commonwealth. Several nations that still recognise the British monarch as their head of state are reconsidering their ties to the crown. For instance, Barbados recently severed ties with the monarchy, and other Caribbean nations are prepared to follow their lead. How the palace navigates these sweeping changes will ultimately decide its remaining global influence. As the British monarchy stares down the future, they are facing some massive roadblocks. The crown has to balance the heavy royal traditions the public expects with a desperate need to modernise. All of this while trying to keep people on their side amidst brutal, ongoing family drama. How the younger generation of royals steps up to shape this future is going to be critical. Every choice made over the next few years will ultimately decide the fate of the British royal family. To the lords and members of the House of Commons, will this royal family adapt to the modern world, or will they lose all their power? As drama unfolds and tensions continue to rise, who will actually guide the British crown, and what will it really take? Drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel, and make sure to click the next video popping up on your screen. You will absolutely love it.